Coach, you got a couple mics, raise your hand, we'll bring them around.
Dave, certainly have to be happy with the reemergence of the running game today. Would you talk about that, please?
Well, obviously, it's been a situation the first couple of weeks where we have not been running as well as we need to, so it's been an emphasis, and we wanted to come in this game and run it, and I think we did. I think we did a decent job. I think our guys up front got some movement. I think our backs ran with more purpose, and I think that's something to build on. By no means are we there yet with the run game, but it's a step in the right direction, so we need to keep going in that direction.
Coach, Brian had 7 interceptions through 13 games last year. He's got 5 now through 4. What are you seeing from him from a decision-making standpoint, factors around him as to why that number's increased so much?
Well, I don't know. I think probably with the struggles we had in the run game, I think Brian probably was putting a little extra pressure on himself because, to be quite honest with you, our first 3 games, our pass game was needing to carry us for the most part, and he was probably trying to do a little bit too much, force things a little bit too much, and I think that those are the results. So it's something that we're very well aware of, and we need to correct because we can't go through the Big Ten season and turn football on.
What about the pick today?
Pick today was top shelf there in the end zone. The corner undercut it. I don't think it was necessarily a bad decision. Probably just could have been a little bit safer spot.
Dave, it seemed like Brian Work, you were using his legs more on this, and some of it was circumstance. You see something, runs, dives to a touchdown. How much more is that going to have to become part of the offense? Is that something you talked about a little bit? Obviously, the one play call close to the end zone.
Yeah, I'm not sure we had a single play call. I might be wrong, but I'm not sure there was a single called quarterback run today. I'm trying to think of one. I don't remember one. But he did a very good job on getting outside the pocket there, especially in the fourth quarter, on some nakeds, playing some pass and running football. And that's something we've told them time and time again. You get out there, you don't have to throw it. You get some green space out there, go ahead and run it, especially in those situations.
So his touchdown, was it a fake? That was
touchdown, no, that was not necessarily a called quarterback run, but he made a good read, a good run with it. So he's doing a good job with it, and obviously, again, we need to sort of pick and choose those situations where we want to do that.
Like in that game, they started to get close to a little bit of trick plays. I guess you were running the backups in there and getting the starters back out there. I guess when you see that things get that close, I mean, how much trust do you have in those guys to come back out there and seal it?
Well, we trust the guys to go back out there and seal it, but I'm definitely not happy with the fact that we gave up points in the fourth quarter. I mean, that shouldn't happen. We need to, and this is what we actually talked about at halftime. We need to play our best in the fourth quarter. We haven't done that yet this year, so that'll definitely be a focus, playing our best at the end.
Questions for either one of the coordinators?
Mike, for you, continue to dominate the rushing game. For you, what is the ceiling on how good this defense can be right now, the way they're playing against the rush?
Well, the way they're playing against the rush is obviously special, but both, yards count the same if they're running the ball or passing the ball. So it comes down to total yards and, more importantly than that, total pass. So I think it'd be very, very, very good, but we need to, really it's closing out this game. I don't know if the passing stats were great or anything like that. We need to close out the game.
Dave, the penalties that you guys have had at times, kind of stopping some things and maybe some of the other mistakes, I guess, how do you clean that up? Because when you go back into Big Ten, you maybe don't have the same kind of wiggle room.
Yeah, we just need to tighten it up, I guess. From a discipline standpoint or a focus standpoint. When you whether it be an offsides or wherever the case might be. I mean, it just comes down to a focus, I think. And again, something we know we've had issues with. It's been addressed. We just need to continue to stress it and make sure the guys continue to grow and get better, not shoot ourselves in the foot.
Coach Tressel, can you talk a little bit about the secondary and I guess their aggressiveness today? And I don't know if it was something that you talked about during the week, but the hitting, especially after the catch, seemed to be at a higher level, more intense today. Was that something that was talked about, or did those guys just rise to that kind of occasion?
A combination of both. I think they're talking amongst themselves. There's pride in that group in our defensive backfield, and they don't think that they played to their ceiling yet. And they'll continue to get better, but it was really mostly talk amongst themselves. They wanted to be more aggressive, they wanted to step up their game. You can see we played a number of different people in there as well, especially at corner, so there's some different faces in there. But they're continuing to get better, the linebackers are continuing to get better in pass coverage, but that must continue to be a focus for us, especially when it becomes a passing game, and then you know that's what's going to happen.
Coach Warner, really dipping into the depth chart.
Where am I at? Oh, sorry. Okay, sorry.
Really dipping into the depth chart of receiver today. What kind of challenge does that present to the passing game? Obviously, it looks a little bit out of sync at times today.
Well, I think when you have a starting quarterback and your top, 4 or 5 receivers, those guys are very much on the same page. Anytime, and not that the other guys don't know what they're doing, but anytime you sort of start dipping into those 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 guys, might not be on the same page. So it's an adjustment. Not that they're not talented. We certainly have a lot of talent, a lot of depth at that position. So it's just a matter of those guys getting on the same page.
They're kind of the same thing at running back. When you have two guys like Connor and Ladarius, they're not very new, or they're fairly new to the running back position, I guess. Sure. How do they handle that adjustment? Could you handle the play calling adjustment for them in running? And I guess from the LJ standpoint, do you expect it back soon?
I don't think I don't think there's anything different that we game plan or call without LJ in the game right there. As far as LJ is always a day-to-day deal, and we want to get him back as soon as we can. But we feel good about our depth at running back, and some of those guys I think stepped up today. I think obviously the offensive line has a big part of that, and they gave us some opportunities today. At the same time, I thought we did a good job when there were creases of getting vertical and running with power.
Mike, down the middle here, defense at least for 3 quarters, I think doing what you wanted it to do. Open field tackling seemed very good. And what changed in the 4th quarter? And on top of that, pass defense, you say pass yards count just as much as rushing yards. The job that Kari Willis did, your secondary did today.
I think, well, there's multiple questions right there, so but start from question number 1. Hit me again. Get that microphone back there. That was too many for me. Not that smart.
Just what was happening, first 3 quarters, open field tackling, sealing out, and that what was not happening in the 4th quarter.
So when you look at the 4th quarter, really we had some opportunities to get off the field and made some mistakes. Like I think about a roughing the passer call when we're off the field, and a couple big plays that we gave up. We gave up an option pass in a situation where we're in deep thirds coverage, and the thing they have to do is do those tricks and take those shots. So we made a couple mental mistakes, and what I hope didn't happen was we lost focus at the end of the game. That's what I hope didn't happen, but that's what we're going to address that and make sure they understand the focus in the 4th has to be even tuned up more than it is at the beginning of the game.
Anything else?